Hey there, soccer freaks. This is ATL On Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United Football Club. So sit back, buckle up, enjoy. Do we want to dig in a little bit more on the Philly game? I mean, again, overall, I felt like a 2-2 was actually a fair result. I don't know if you agree with
I
that.
agree. No, I think 2-2 was a fair result in the end for the game, but you feel so disappointed up 2-0. Brad Guzan, gives up a bad rebound for the first goal where they score, and
I mean, it hit his hands and then hit his chest. I mean, he, and it had a little bit of a funky thing coming in, but at the same time, you ask Brad after that. I mean, he should have held on to that, and you got to credit that goal as a Brad Guzan mistake by not wrapping that thing up.
Yeah,
and he would say that much.
Yeah, I agree. But you could say, look, with their lack of a striker, you scored 2 goals in that game. With the defense the way we have it, supposed to be dominant, should be enough. Now, I'm going to say 2 things about the defense. So one is that early on, I felt like we were dominant with our defense in terms of we were winning the battle up the field. We had a ton of possession. That hasn't been quite as true the last couple of games. The defense hasn't been able to get up the field. Now, part of that's being on the road in the MLS. It's a harder thing to do than you think. The other big question mark I have is who is Alan Franco?
Yeah, it's a good question. He, in the last game, right, which was the New York FC game, he came on, correct, after an injury that happened to who? Somebody. Or he just got subbed on, right?
I felt like he just came on. I thought I thought that Robinson and Walks were both in the game.
I want to say somebody got hurt and Alan Franco came in kind of unexpectedly, and he had a really bad back pass where he turned around and didn't look.
Yes.
And so that was part of the who is Alan Franco. I think after that he found a little bit of composure and did some good things.
He also got beat off the dribble once pretty badly.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. So there was a lot of uncertainty around Alan Franco. Is supposed to be one of our better imports.
I think if Alan Franco is the player that he is right now, Atlanta United doesn't get back over the top, and is basically a borderline playoff team. If Alan Franco turns out to be the player we thought he was going to be, which is, boss in the back, the leadership role, even for a young guy, then Atlanta United goes on to, zoom right up the table and finishes, as one of the contenders.
Yeah, I fear that Alan Franco is going through a lot of what, probably is happening to, somebody coming to the U.S. I'm assuming he's coming to the U.S. for the first time, getting grounded and comfortable. There's just so much stuff going on outside of the soccer field for him that if all of those things aren't lined up and you're comfortable in your regular life, then you're not going to be comfortable in the soccer field. That happens in every sport. And you can ask any athlete that. That's 100% true. So he's probably the guy, but I think he's going to need that timeline to get settled in. And you have to believe that that's, people are listening that don't believe what I'm saying there. It's a real thing. You have to be comfortable in what's happening off the field for you to be comfortable with what's going on the field.
I don't know. I might actually disagree with you a little bit on that one, right? So Alan Franco is supposed to be a borderline Argentinian international defender. He's supposed to be a guy who's, was considered to jump right to Europe even for the time being. If you're that player, even with getting used to Atlanta and whatever, in the MLS, you can't dominate. I think you should be able to still
I didn't know that he had that much cachet that he was going to go to the European.
He's supposed to be.
Flip it up. But if that's the case, then I'm with you. But the fact he's in Atlanta United, I'm not sure I buy that that's actually the case. And I'm just saying that, no matter what sport you're in, you have to be comfortable with your environment. So I know I'm giving him a hall pass right now, but I agree. As a designated player, he needs to step up and play better.
That's not like you, Mikey
I know
Dobbs, to
it's
give
not,
him a hall pass.
but
I mean, I expect him to be the subject of a rant like Alan Franco is supposed to be our guy, Argentinian. He's capped for the national team, for heaven's sake,
but
right?
I'm
Like,
not seeing him like get the start. Like there's something happening there where he's not getting like even out of the gates, right? We were questioning why isn't Alan Franco in? Um,
well, you know,
until I see 3 games where he's played 90 minutes and he's screwing it
yeah.
up, then that's a different story.
Well, you know, he had the injury earlier, and that I think has also contributed to him not maybe necessarily being able to settle. But
So I'm gonna keep true to you, trying to get out of here and on time to do what you got to do. But the second game against New England, right, which is a Bruce Arena coached side,
no, not New England, the New York City FC. New England was much earlier.
no, he was Philadelphia and then New England and then NYFC. Am I wrong on that?
No, Philadelphia, then New York City FC, and then Redbulls.
You're correct.
Because we played New York City FC, it was probably confusing you because we played them in Red Bull Arena.
That's right.
Which is weird, but yeah.
Right.
So you're talking about the New York City FC game in Red Bull Arena, yes?
Yeah. What'd you think of that game?
You know,
that was the last game, right?
No, the 0-0 tie against Red Bulls was the last game.
Okay.
At home.
But that one
at home.
At home. And then NYFC. Which one was the one that was just frantic the whole time? That was the last game against the Red Bulls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the pace of that game. So let's touch on that game since my notes are wrong here, which is throwing me off.
I was just going to say the New York City FC game, you know, we looked like they were going to run us right off the pitch for the first 20 minutes, and then we settled. After that, I thought we looked like the better team on the road against a pretty good team. I thought, you know, we were a little unlucky to lose 1-0 in that game.
Yeah.
Again, we lacked the bite. We did pretty well in terms of possession or whatever, but we really lacked on the front foot. We couldn't get great goal scoring chances. So,
yeah.
And then part of that just seems to me like, you know, who's going to be the guy to finish a good chance? And
not Kubo Torres.
Not Kubo Torres, right?
So why isn't Heinze giving one of these younger guys like, you know, Jackson Conway more of a chance? Because he did come in that game or one of the games, and Torres came out, and his only opportunity, there's a nice head ball that came in, at least put it on frame and nearly scored. I mean, Kubo wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, and then we haven't seen anything basically of Josetu, right? Who's, you know, he supposedly went back to Brazil, got his green card, and is supposed to be fine now, whatever. And you would think, okay, if he's the real deal, we would see a lot of him. He's supposed to be a pretty explosive player, but it doesn't speak that well when you're behind Kubo Torres.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for that.
Well, it's part of my concern about Heinze not seeing it and trotting him out there. I mean, maybe the guy's great at practice and all, but you know, it's so clear and obvious to me that you get somebody in there that wants to score. There's just a desire to score a goal. We don't have anybody in the game right now that just wants to throw themselves at the ball and make runs, and just it's not happening.
I actually feel like in the box maybe he is capable of throwing himself at the ball, but the thing of it is that he's so not dynamic that he allows the defenders to just be so comfortable. Like the defenders are so nonplussed, right? They're like, we know Kubo's not running by us, so we can just cheat off of him. We can do this or that. Like you got to keep the defenders at least honest, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even the balls I've seen come right to his head, he's not doing anything with them that is putting him in the corner. I mean, that he is frustrating more than Adam Jean, like killing me.
Well, he reminds me a bit of Adam Jean, right? Like, you know, I felt like maybe this is giving too much credit, but Adam Jean just looked like he wasn't going to move, didn't understand how to do any movement. Kubo Torres looks like he understands it. He just doesn't have that gear anymore.
Yeah.
And so, but the effect is the same, right? Which is to not have a dynamic up top.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I agree. I think there's a couple of moments that he was making a run in the last game, and somebody tried to slot him, and he was, 3 yards behind where the pass was going to be. So
All right. Well,
it
now
was.
tell us about the frantic. What did you see about the frantic in
Oh,
the Red Bull, the 0-0 draw? You
oh,
were not at the stadium. Neither of us were at the stadium.
no, I felt like I watched it through the VPN here to get around the blackout, and I just felt like
Nice.
the pace of the game was just out of control from both sides. I mean, Red Bulls like that, I think Jeff Lorenowitz was doing the commentary and was just talking about, how Red Bulls are like, the bug that won't die, and they really were. They just put that constant pressure on, and we kind of played in the same fashion and got sucked into it. And I think got taken out of our game. And if you looked at it, I mean, the whole game was just this gigantic slinky, and by a slinky, I mean mainly just stretch from 18 to 18 the entire game. There was literally somebody's player and evenly spread across the field from the 6-6 box throughout that game, because it was just the ball was just going back and forth, and it was, I don't know, it was crazy.
And how does that game end up 0-0? I agree with you. It's wide open. I feel like, Heinz trying to get some offense, was like push, 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 get it open, and they did. They opened it right up, but nobody scored. I mean, of course, the pass off of Alan Franco, the Red Bulls have to score that one. How do they not score? And then obviously when we hit the post.
Yeah. I felt like, I mean, honestly, I felt like we had the edge in that game a little bit. I felt like
we did
we actually had a little more quality. So I wasn't as disappointed, even though I feel like we got sucked into their game a little bit, and I didn't like that part of it. But I think we did settle after the first 20 minutes, and we found a way to knock the ball around. So that was promising. But then at some points in the game, we just went right back to getting sucked into just that back and forth that I'm sure Heinze really doesn't want, in terms of a little bit more control in the way we're getting up and attacking.
Well, speaking of Heinze, he seemed pissed, right?
Yeah.
The final whistle blew. He turned and marched right out of there. I would hate to be Atlanta United on the training ground this week.
Yeah.